afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. It is Saturday, August 31st, and you know what that means. It is time for the High Risk Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, chilling on this Labor Day weekend, Jeremy Pierce. Check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course, the 215 on Twitter. And today's show, we're going to talk about a change of scenery, not just for promotions, but for people, for shows. This is a little different from the costume change show that we usually do, where we're talking about a change of gimmick, but we're talking about a change of place, something that has to happen for you to succeed or for you to just get better. But for now, you know what's next, so just go on and hit my music. Wrestling needs its mid-card champions. It needs these belts to help solidify that middle part of the roster, to elevate them, the holder to the top, or see if they can sink or swim. And right here we have the current 5 best mid-card champions. Right now in wrestling, we start with number 5, Kamille Jordan. She is the inaugural NXT North American Women's Champion, and she has done a fine job defending that championship. Young in the ring, young in skill, but she has proven that she is eager to learn, eager to work, eager to grow, and she's put on some solid matches. It helps that she is in the developmental system that is NXT. Number 4, the WWE Intercontinental Champion, Braun Breaker. And yes, he's only had, I think, 1 title defense, but man, oh man, oh man, he has been a house of fire, coming in and really established himself as a champion, as the champion after that long reign by Gunther and the solid reign by Sami Zayn. Braun Breaker has said no one can take this championship from him. Number 3, PCO as the TNA Digital Media Champion. The Undead Man, Frankenstein's monster, is really putting in some underrated work, some sneaky work, some underappreciated work as the Digital Media Champion. He just defended the belt last night at Emergence and once again came out as the winner. This guy is someone who you can really build good stories around, and he's a veteran of the industry, so you can trust him to get the job done. Number 2, the TNT champion, Jack Perry. Yeah, he had to be on his list. Why? The dude just dominated Darby Allin, one of, if not the greatest TNT champion so far, and he dominated him in Darby Allin's match. Jack Perry won the title in a fatal 4-way, and yes, he is part of the elite, but when he needs to defend that belt, when he needs to take on challengers, he will do it. Not only is he challenging now Bryan Danielson for the World Heavyweight Championship, or the World Championship, he still has this TNT Championship to solidify him as the guy that you have to go through to get to the top. And number 1, Oba Femi as the NXT North American Champion. This dude is on a roll. He is dominating. He is having open challenges. He is facing anybody that wants to face him, and he's so confident in himself. He can back it up. Yes, he is still young. He is very young when it comes to wrestling. He is young in the ring, but they have trusted him enough to elevate this championship. And the championship now feels really important, longer than it's been in a very, very long time. Oba Femi is what you look for in someone who can elevate a championship. And you ask yourself the question, is it the man that makes the belt, or is it the belt that makes the man? We'll be right back. She's a brick house. This is my tag. Yes, Kamille Brickhouse is finally here in AEW. And listen. We know pretty much how her story is going to finish. But for now, it is time for her to show the world what I've known for a very long time, that she is something special. She currently is the heavy for one Mercedes Moné, being her bodyguard, making sure things work out in her favor. She has not spoken since she stepped foot into an AEW ring, but that's okay. You let the ring work, you let your power, you let all of that do the talking for you. And it's very, very good that she's teamed up with Mercedes Moné, who's already the top star of the promotion, and she's been featured in All Out. Kamille has been dominant for a long time in the NWA, and sooner rather than later, she will get her time to shine in AEW. Keep your eye on her and pay attention to everything that she does, because she's one to really, really watch out for. We'll be right back. A change of scenery. This ties into so many stories, so many episodes that we have done here. Sometimes it comes down to betting on yourself. Sometimes it comes down to you just being let go and then betting on yourself. What we have today are some upcoming changes of scenery, and even some ones that have happened, some that need to happen. So let's talk about it. Not that. Wink, wink. So Raw and SmackDown are moving to new networks. This is different. What do I mean? So SmackDown is moving to USA. It is leaving Fox. Their deal is up, and they are moving to USA, the longtime home of Monday Night Raw. And that's okay. SmackDown's back on cable. SmackDown has pretty much been a broadcast show for the very longest of times. It was on USA at one point. I think it was even on MTV at one point. But it's moving back to cable. So what does that mean for Monday Night Raw? If SmackDown's moving to USA, where is Raw going? Raw is moving to Netflix. Yes. Netflix have pretty much been the last streamer to really get into the live action sporting game. And every streaming platform needs live sports, live something. That's how you can bring in more viewers, and wrestling is just consistent. So now Mondays at 8 o'clock coming this fall, I believe it's this fall, SmackDown will be on USA. I'm sorry, Raw will be on Netflix. What does that mean for Raw? Well, are we still going to be PG? Are we going to be PG-13? Will we still be bleeping out crowd chants? It's a very good question. But what I do expect to have here is an edgier product for Raw and SmackDown. SmackDown, honestly, for the longest time, even though SmackDown seems like it's been PG-13, SmackDown's actually always been PG, which is weird, right? But Raw, I don't want to say we're going to get to the days of the Attitude Era, but I expect it to be turned up just a notch. And it looks like Drew McIntyre's about to lose this strap match. Wow. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to, I think, reinvigorate the product. I think it's going to make the wrestlers happy. I think it's going to make the fans happy. Yes, it's going to suck that there won't be any wrestling on a broadcast network. Actually, I take that back, because with SmackDown moving to USA and Raw moving to Netflix, well, guess what? NXT and I believe the NWA will be moving to the CW. Let that sink in. That is good. That is good. This episode was originally supposed to be about where wrestling stands now. We're living in the moment where wrestling is everywhere. SmackDown's on USA, Raw's moving to Netflix, and now the CW, which once had SmackDown, will now have NXT and the NWA. This is good, and there's even rumblings of maybe MLW moving to Tubi. We know about the news article. The news story of MLW suing the WWE for trying to block them from getting to a streaming platform. That's where we stand. The shows are moving, except for AEW. AEW is clearly probably staying with Warner Brothers Discovery, and we'll be getting a show on Max. That's what I'm predicting. Probably Ring of Honor. And that's another change of scenery. Ring of Honor can move from the Honor Club network to an actual streaming platform to get more eyes on the product. But Raw to Netflix, SmackDown to USA, NXT, and the NWA to CW, these are all good things for the industry. And then we had this past Sunday at All In, who would debut after leaving the WWE? That would be one Ricochet, and he's been going through it recently on Twitter because of the fact that there are fans that say they won't watch him now that he's in AEW. They think he's taking a step back, and I think that's absolute garbage, because he's right. If you're a fan of someone, you're going to watch their matches. You're not just going to watch their highlights. That's so corny. You know what I mean? And if you believe that WWE is the end all to be all, that's all well and good for you. They can be the end all to be all, but people like to bet on themselves. A step back would be him staying in WWE and being complacent and not taking the time to say, hey, yo, I want more for myself. We've seen what happened with Andrade. It's kind of just treading water. And now here we are with Ricochet debuting in AEW. We have Ricochet immediately getting a spotlight. I would love to see him get a run as the Ring of Honor World Champion. That's what I would love to see, because this man is great, and he treaded water for a very, very long time in the WWE. And then we have Jade Cargill, who was always going to go to the WWE. She just felt like someone who would be in the WWE. Yes, getting her start in AEW was great. It was fun, but I don't think she was ever meant to be there for a very, very long time. And it was an inevitability that she was moving over there. And we've seen what the change has done for her. She was always kind of felt like the perfect person for that company. Now she has the green light in but the Performance Center to get the reps in. She has already been she's a two-time tag team champion already, and she still obviously needs work in the ring, but the persona is there. The greatness that we are expecting from her is already there, and she is thankful, she is grateful for her time in AEW. But the change was always going to come. And then we have, I think, one of the best changes, which was Dean Ambrose pretty much tricking and lying to Vince McMahon to leave the WWE and going to AEW and returning to what we now know as Jon Moxley. And at the end of the day, if you were to put Dean Ambrose versus Jon Moxley in the match, Jon Moxley would absolutely destroy Dean Ambrose. Period. Jon Moxley, I think, is the person that Dean Ambrose has always wanted to be. I think he wrestles the style that he's always wanted to wrestle, and that change has worked out gloriously for him. He has immediately become one of the top stars in this business, multiple time world champion, putting off fantastic matches every single time he steps in the ring, with there rarely being a blip on the radar. Jon Moxley is a man's man. Jon Moxley is domination. Jon Moxley is the life preserver of AEW. He honestly is the truest of true MVPs, and I don't think he could ever reach that level in the WWE just because of you know who's in charge, who recognizes what. They can see you as a top player, but they will never see you as the player. And Jon Moxley was able to show that he is completely different. And then how about MXM moving to AEW and Ring of Honor? Mansoor and Mace were kind of just treading water in the WWE. First, they started out in the honestly horrible faction that was Retribution, and a lot of those people, the less said the better. And then they ended up as part of the Maximum Male Models with Max Dupree, now known as LA Knight, thank God, but they were just kind of there. And after their release, they were able to do something, find reinvigoration. They were able to really grab the bull by the horns, because if you see them now in an AEW, if you see them now in a Ring of Honor, they are extremely popular. They are getting the push that they have earned, that they've wanted. They are able to be a tag team. They are able to show up and show out and be essentially something better, something that they were never going to achieve in the WWE, and that is a top tier tag team, allowing them to live the gimmick, breathe the gimmick, put on really good promos, allowing them to express themselves. It just works. It just works. And these guys are really, really having fun. And I think when you can have fun, when you can see the wrestlers having fun, we can have fun. And that's all you really ask for. Then you have those that are just stuck in catering, stuck in not being able to get off that good foot. This is bad. And originally, for the longest of times, Odyssey Jones was there. He was the one that was stuck. And after 2 years sitting in catering, now here he is, part of a pretty decent storyline featuring the New Day. Now, his debut was good. He picked up a win that was good, and he is helping to exacerbate the storyline between Kofi and Xavier and Karrion Kross. And what's so funny is, can you really fathom a world where Kofi Kingston's a heel and Odyssey Jones is his heavy? Like, think about that. But whatever they have planned, it's going to work. All right. Then there's Tegan Nox, who literally tweeted the other day, she just can't even get featured. What was the point of re-signing her if we weren't going to use her? Yes, I know she's had 2 or 3 really devastating knee injuries, but she's clearly in great shape right now. And I think out of all of the women on the WWE roster, she's the one that could use the biggest change of scenery. Whereas we got the Pure Fusion Collective coming together, right? And you still have Carmella, Alexa Bliss, Natalya, Charlotte Flair, a bunch of women that are out in one way, shape, or form. Raquel Rodriguez. Tegan's here on the main roster healthy, and she can't get booked. I very much would love to see her in TNA. I've said it time and again that TNA needs more women for the Knockouts roster, and Tegan would do wonders there. There's probably a few women I could pick on the WWE roster that could make the jump to TNA and very much succeed. Tegan, in my opinion, is number 1, and I was very, very shocked when Natalya re-signed with the WWE. But something's got to give when it comes to Tegan Nox. Then you have Ricky Starks. This guy in AEW was on a roll, and it was nothing but up for him, and he's not hurt. He's just not being booked. And why is that? Some of us believe it's because he's just waiting to go to WWE to go and join Cody. Some of us believe that it's Tony Khan being spiteful. And yet, if you go back and look at the things that Ricky did, especially during that late Collision run, he was a man on fire, and yet he can't get on TV. Yes, I know the AEW roster is large, but so is the WWE roster. The TNA men's roster is large, and yet Ricky Starks can't get on TV. Honestly, he would do wonders in the WWE. His persona just fits them, and he won't even have that good music that he's got now. But he's a guy that needs a change of scenery. He's a guy that needs something. And still, you have the Dark Order, AEW Originals, which I don't think they're going anywhere. I just want to see something greater for them. The fact that they have never won Tag Team Gold sucks. And they've lost Preston Vance. They've lost Alan Angels down to, Evil Uno, John, and Alex. That's it. They've lost Anna Jay. I mean, they still got -10, but I thought the Dark Order were destined for something more and destined for something greater, and yet they're just kind of spinning their wheels, occasionally showing up in Ring of Honor. I think a lot of the issues that hamper AEW right now when it comes to the roster will all get fixed once Ring of Honor gets a consistent show. I truly believe that, but the Dark Order, they've got to shine at some point. You know what I mean? It's got to give. But that's our show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the September schedule that should hopefully be up by tomorrow. I'll get that going for you. Check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course the 215 on Twitter. And as always, Bailey, Isla Dawn, Gigi Dolan, Anna J, Chris Statler, and the Willow Nightingale. Holla at your boy. Peace.